Welcome to AbiBin Academy. Today, we'll see how do we install a Postgres database in a Windows 11 machine. So for that, go to google.com and then search for PostgreSQL download. On the result, you can see the result is coming from the PostgreSQL site itself. Click on the downloads. And if you can see that there are a lot of versions available, depends upon your operating system. Select the one which is Windows. You can see that the installer is coming from EDB, which is a company who actually creates a lot of enterprise standard features to the open source software of PostgreSQL, and it is approved by the Postgre community owners itself. You can download the installer from here, depends upon which is your supported operating system. So click on the download installer, and you can see the different versions and different operating system that it is supported. We will download the 64-bit Windows OS version, and in a few moments the download will get automatically started. So while it downloads, it's actually a 300 MB sized file. I have already downloaded it in my machine, so we can cancel this for the time being. I'll show you. This is a downloaded file that we have in my machine. First step, we will execute this file, and then you can start installing it in your machine. Let it open. As you can see, the wizard has popped up. Click on next. It will ask for an installation directory. You can keep it the default one. This package comes up with 4 softwares. The PostgreSQL server, pgAdmin 4, which is the SQL client where you can execute the SQL statements. There is a stack builder, which is used for installing drivers and other required softwares for Postgres, and a set of command line utility tools which you could execute from a Unix box or anywhere else. You don't need to change the directory unless and until if you required, you can keep the default directory itself. If you want to change it, you can change using the browse option here. It will ask for a database superuser password. The superuser name would be Postgres, but the password we can set it up. So you can give some password which is actually making good sense to you. You can keep the port as 5432 as a default one. Locale, by default, it is a default locale, but if you want to change it to any specific locality, you can do that. The advantage with that is the date formatting, the number conversions, etc. can automatically get adjusted if you want to have it running with a particular locality in mind. Otherwise, you can keep it default. Click on next, and it will start getting installed. This takes a bit of time. I would say approximately 3 to 5 minutes it takes to get this software installed, server setup, and all those other things. So while it is installing, I'll take you through the functionalities of PostgreSQL and why it is becoming such a powerful open source database utility and server. So let me explain you. So PostgreSQL database is one of the most advanced open source software open source relational database that we have currently, and it is widely used by a lot of enterprise businesses as well as data science, data analytics, and data analysts. This is very simple to use, easy to use. Basically, the features are like it supports the ACID compliance. ACID compliance is basically A stands for atomicity, C for consistency, I for isolation, D for durability. Any database which is compliant with the ACID transaction is considered to be a reliable one for utilizing in an enterprise application. Atomicity, meaning it is all the transaction that you are executing will be treated as a single unit given its own importance, and then it will be completed successfully. Consistency guarantees the transaction will bring the database from one valid state to another one. Isolation means it, even if you are running multiple queries and transactions, it will not interfere each other, right? And durability means if your transaction is committed, that transaction will complete and it will be activated in database. So majority of the databases that we have in the current world all supports ACID. Postgre being one of the biggest open source database, it is widely used. It is extendable to have it written with custom functions, extensions, and etc. You can customize it in any way that you want. It is optimized for complex queries and larger data sets. You can do MVCC, multiple version concurrency control, meaning you can throw a number of transactions into the database and then it will handle that efficiently. It supports Windows, Linux, Mac OS, which we have already seen when we download it. We can see different platforms where we can install this. It also supports JSON, XML arrays, and custom data types. It is scalable, and it is already part of multiple cloud solutions like Azure, AWS. They are treating it with some of them are RDSs, relational database management systems, and it can be added as a separate database also. If you consider the benefits of it, the major and the biggest benefit is open source and free. There is no licensing cost involved. It is secure and reliable. It is trusted by industries for a long time. It integrates with many of the latest applications and tools without any hassles. It is good for whether you are supporting it for a OLTP like an ERP solution or OLAP like an analytic solution and any hybrid applications. It supports everything. And more importantly, it has a larger community support where any of your queries, updates, and new functionalities, you will be easily able to get it and try in your analysis part. Let's go back to the installation. You can see that the installation has been completed. It took almost 7 to 8 minutes to have the installation done. At the end, it is asking for the stack builder to download and install the additional tools and drivers. We'll park it for the time being. We'll see if the server has been installed properly and we are able to run SQL commands. So let's click on finish. And since we have the pgAdmin client installed in the machine already, we will just try to open up the pgAdmin application. So pgAdmin application is getting opened up. This is a universal PostgreSQL client which anybody can use to run SQL statements. It's a very easy usable tool. We'll see how do we use that here. Now this is the pgAdmin home screen. You can see that there is a server section already coming up here, and if you click on it, it asks for the password to connect to that server, which is what we have given in the initial stage when we were installing the PostgreSQL. So it opened up the database server, and you can see it has the database section inside. If you expand database, you can see the database name that we have currently is Postgres. Inside that, all the database level sections are there. If you go to schema, the very first schema or the default schema is public, and there is a table section. If you expand on this, nothing really happens, right? So let's try to create a table and load the data and see if we can see the data. So if you look at here, there is a button. This is the query tool. Click on this query tool. It opens up a window where we can write a query. Let's create a table, a test table called test employee, and I'll have two columns in that: employee name of type varchar and employee ID. Again, type worker. This is a test table we are creating. Let's see if this command is getting executed. If you run this, you can see query returned successfully. And if you just right click and refresh here, you can see the test employee had been created. Let's try to insert a couple of entries into this table and see if this insert functionality is working. Insert into test employee values and let the employee name be David and employee ID is 001. Let's run this query. Query returned successfully, meaning it's inserted one value to it. Let's check the table now. Select star from test employee, and you can see that the value has reached the table. This is how you can validate whether your server is running and executing the database functionalities. Now the local Postgres database server and a database is ready for you for any of your testing, integrations and validation. Thank you for watching.